Bike is here, it is loaded in the dyno, it's got a full tank of gas, inductive pickups are hooked up, blower fans are pointed where they need to point, and I got a battery tender hooked up, so we're all good to go. We just need to talk about how we're going to map this motorcycle in this dyno room with a Fuelpak Pro and an FP3. Dyno has what's referred to as a step test. So what we'll do in here is we'll start it at 1500 RPM, we will step in 250 RPM increments, so 1500, 1750, 2000, 2250, etc. And we will hold each step for 5 seconds. So what that allows me to do for everything 20% TPS and below in my auto tune chart is it allows me full and total control to hit every single cell with the wideband. We'll start the 20% TPS column in 4th gear, and then for every descending column, we will also shift down a gear. So at 20%, we will be in 4th gear, 15% will be in 3rd gear, 10% 2nd gear, and everything below 10% will be in 1st gear. After that, we will do sweeps. We'll turn off the load test control, and we will put into a static brake, static drum load. For this particular bike in this room, 10% works really, really well. For a large displacement bike, it could be anywhere from 15 to 20, and rooms change. So our other few dyno rooms, I might need more load. Our other dyno room, I might need less load. It's really just entirely built upon me adding and having more time to pass through the cells while I'm sweeping through them column by column. So I'll start at the 25% TPS column. I will hold it at 25%, pass through it. If I don't learn everything in that column, I'll roll back off, I'll hit the brake, I'll slow myself back down, and then I'll hit it again, 25%, learn my data. If that's good and I'm filling out the column, I'll roll off, slow my bike back down, hit the 40%, and then roll through there. And so then we'll go 40, 60, 80, 100, and at the end of the day, I will end up with a fully configured map in about an hour's time in this room. All right, so we're all set here. We set the start temperature for the bike to 200 degrees. We're gonna go ahead and target 13.0 for a target AFR, and we're gonna take 8 samples per cell. So normally it would be 2 samples per cell, and we're gonna take 400% more data. Because it's wideband, it's gonna be a lot more accurate, a lot faster data than a standard airband setup. Again, let me go ahead into my load test configuration. Set it for engine speed at 1.5 for a start value, step size of 0.25, and a hold time of 5 seconds. Go back to the home page, get my load test, make sure to turn off load or I'm gonna have a hell of a time starting this thing up, and let's get mapping. All right, so we're going to start the step mapping sessions, but to sort of help illustrate the point, we're going to pop up an earlier recorded session done on the same bike. Again, because it was recorded earlier, my wrist will likely not fully line up with the screen, so don't be too alarmed. Again, the 20% TPS column is done in 4th gear. Remember to have the load control enabled, and as you start the test, you will want to hit the load and sample button. Now this can be done by either the L and enter buttons on the keyboard. You can press the load and sample buttons with the mouse on the graphics interface of the monitor, or you can use the green and yellow buttons on the remote. I simply like the keyboard because to me it's a little quicker shortcut, but when it comes to slowing down the bike with the brake, I'll still use the remote just because I've discovered that the B key can sometimes hang and be a little too unresponsive for my liking. So as I come to the top of this 15% column, again, I am in 3rd gear at 15%. You'll notice that I will roll off the throttle, hit L enter and escape to not graph it, use the brake to slow the bike down, L and enter again to enable my sampling and load, and then I will roll onto the 10% column in 2nd gear. I will continue through this process in 1st gear for the remainder of this map, so the 7, 5, and 4% columns will all be performed in 1st gear. But in the interest of time savings, let's go ahead and take a look at the sweep mapping sessions. So here we are for the sweep mapping sessions. So again, everything 25% and above will be swept through. I have a static 10% drum load going right now. And again, everything for sweeps is going to be done in 4th gear. So you'll notice that I will fill an entire column prior to moving on to the next. So I finished 25% and I will work on 40%. As I get towards the top of 25 and 40, I will sometimes disable and then re-enable the load, almost like a simulated step test, just to make hitting those higher RPMs a little easier. So as we continue ascending order mapping here with our columns, I will go ahead and say a few things. This entire mapping session was performed in a little under 15 minutes. So you can definitely see how quick and easy it is to use the Fuelpak Pro with an FP3 in the dyno. It's a great tool for increasing shop efficiency and throughput and decreasing the amount of time you are spending in the room. Generally about 2 to 3 of these sessions would get you a fully polished map, and at that point it would just be a matter of fine-tuning, uploading to the server, and that way the next time you do a build, you'd have a wonderful starting off point right there at the tip of your fingertips without ever having to go to a computer, because it would all be done through the app and on the cloud. Again, this is Brian. Thank you guys for joining me for a good Fuelpak Pro mapping tutorial, and we'll see you next time.